الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين له الحمد الحسن والثناء الجميل وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له يقول الحق وهو يهدي السبيل وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إمام الموحدين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأحييكم بتحية الإسلام بتحية من عند الله مباركة طيبة السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Tonight inshallah we're going to talk about a tayammum which is called dry ablution which is a substitute for al-wudu. You know that to take wudu is one of the shurut to salah. The condition of the prayer, you have to take wudu. La salata liman ahdatha hatta yatawadda'a. There is no salah for anyone that is that breaks his wudu until it takes wudu. Man ahdasa hatta yatawadda'a. There is no salat for the one that is impure until it takes wudu. But there are certain times that it will be very difficult for you to take wudu. For example, if you are sick, you have serious fever, and if you take wudu, it may increase the fever. Then in that case, you are allowed to do a tayammum. Or faqdul ma, you don't have no water at all, then you are allowed to do a tayammum. Or you don't have water, but the place that you can go and fetch water is dangerous. So therefore, if you go there, you might lose your life. And we know that the 5 necessary things that the Sharia came to preserve is hifzun nafs, to preserve your life. So in that case, you are allowed to take a tayammum. A tayammum, lughatan al-qasdu. Al-qasdu is to aim at. وشرعا هو مسح الوجه واليدين بصعيد طيب على وجه مخصوص تعبدا لله تعالى. The meaning, the Islamic meaning for a tayammum is wiping the face and the hands with pure earth. Ala wajhin makhsus, in a specific way. Ta'abbudan lillahi azza wa jal, in a way to worship Allah jalla wa ala. So it means is to wipe your face and your hands with pure earth. And it has a specific way. And you are doing that in a way to worship Allah Jalla wa ala. Because if you don't have water, you have to do tayammum. And when you do tayammum, then you are allowed to do what you were supposed to do when you have wudu. حكم التيمم ودليل مشروعيته. The ruling of tayammum and the evidence of its legislation. التيمم مشروع. التيمم, the dry ablution, is legislated. وهو رخصة من الله عز وجل لعباده. Rukhsa is a permit from Allah Jalla wa ala to his servant. Rukhsa can mean to make something easy. Allah Jalla wa ala legislated a tayammum as a rukhsa, as a license, as a way to make things easy for his servant, for his slaves. وَهُوَ مِنْ مَحَاسِنِ هَذِهِ الشَّرِيعَةِ. And this is one of the beauties of this Sharia. Because the Sharia is very easy. Allah Jalla wa Ala doesn't want hardship for us. يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر وما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج المشقة تجلب التيسير. Allah Jalla wa Ala wants ease for you. He doesn't want hardship for you. And Allah Jalla wa Ala didn't put any difficulty in your religion. Allah says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق. This is the evidence that a tayammum is legislated. Allah says, O you who believe, when you want to pray your salah, when you stand up to pray your salat, it means before you even stand up to pray your salah, فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوءَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. Wash your face and your hands until your elbow. وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. And wipe your heads. وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. And wash your feet until your ankle. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَاتَّهَّرُوا. And if you have janaba, you have to clean yourself. If you have janaba, you have to clean yourself. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ مَرْضَى أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ أَوْ جَاءَ أَحَدٌ مِّنْكُمْ مِنَ الْغَائِطِ أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ مِنْهُ مَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيَجْعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ حَرَجٍ وَلَكِنْ يُرِيدُ لِيُطَهِّرَكُمْ وَلِيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah says, and if you are sick, if you are ill, or you are on a journey, or any of you relieve himself, come from the toilet, from relieving himself, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, or you touch the women, meaning you have relations with your women, you have intercourse with your women. فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً, and you don't find water to wash yourself. You don't find water to clean yourself. فَتَيَمَّمُوا, so do the dry ablution, صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا, with pure earth. فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ مِنْهُ, and use that earth to wipe your face and your hand. Use it to wipe your face, your faces and your hands. مَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيَجْعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah doesn't want to put any hardship on you. وَلَكِنْ يُرِيدُ لِيُطَهِّرَكُمْ. But Allah wants to cleanse you. وَلِيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. And so He complete His favor upon you, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you may be grateful. So this is the ayah for wudu and tayammum. Because Allah says, فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. So this is a clear evidence that a tayammum, dry ablution, is legislated. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, as-sa'idu tayyibu kafika wa illam tajidil ma'a ashra hijajin wa idha wajadta al-ma'a fa'ammissahu basharatak. Yeah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, the earth is pure for you. It will suffice you. It will be sufficient for you. Even if you don't find water for 10 years, you can use the earth, the ground, to clean yourself. Even if you don't find water for 10 years. And if you find water, use the water to touch your body. Use that water and wash your body. So, we are allowed to do a tayammum. Even if it's 10 years we don't have water, you are allowed to do a tayammum. When you have minor impurity, you don't have water, you clean yourself with stone, and then you can do a tayammum. If you have wet dream, you don't have water, then you can do a tayammum, and you can use that to pray your salah. You can use that to pray your salah. And he says, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, جُعِلَتْ لِي الْأَوْدُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا. This is one of the 5 things that was given to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and wasn't given to the Prophet before him. One of these things is that Allah has made this earth as a masjid for this ummah, and He has made this earth a thing for us to use to clean ourselves. So this is a ni'mah. That's why the Prophet said, anywhere the salat meets you, you should pray. Except in the places that you're not allowed to pray your salah. For example, the toilet, you're not allowed to pray there, and so on and so forth. And he says here, وَقَدْ أَجْمَعَ أَهْلُ الْعِلْمِ عَلَى مَشْرُوعِيَّةِ التَّيَمُّمِ إِذَا تَوَافَرَتْ شَرَائِطُهُ. And indeed, the scholars, they have agreed, the people of knowledge, the scholars of knowledge, they have agreed that a tayammum is legislated as long as the conditions are met. So we have evidence from the Quran, evidence from the Sunnah, and evidence from Al-Ijma'. And we said the fiqh has 4 sources. Number 1 is Al-Quran Al-Karim. Number 2 is Al-Sunnatul Mutahhara. Number 3 is Al-Ijma'. And number 4 is Al-Qiyas. So these are all evidences to prove that a tayammum is legislated. وَأَنَّهُ قَائِمٌ مَقَامَ الطَّهَارَةِ بِالْمَاءِ. And it will stand and take the place of cleanliness. The same, it comes, وَأَنَّهُ قَائِمٌ مَقَامَ الطَّهَارَةِ بِالْمَاءِ. It will substitute water in cleanliness. It will take the place of water in cleanliness. فَيُبَاحُ بِهِ مَا يُبَاحُ بِتَطَهُّرِ بِالْمَاءِ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ وَالطَّوَافِ وَقِرَاءَةِ الْقُرْآنِ وَغَيْرِ ذَلِكَ. So with a tayammum, then, yeah. Okay, I'm going to do it, inshallah. Okay, yeah, quick. Alaikum salam. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وبث مقام الصلاة. So with a tayammum, the dry ablution, you will be able to do everything that you can do with wudu. If you don't have water and you do a tayammum, it is allowed for you to do everything that you can do with wudu. And they made an example here, mina salah. You can pray with a tayammum. What tawaf, you can do a tawaf with a tayammum. Wa qira'atul Quran, you can recite the Quran with a tayammum. Wa ghayri dhalika, and other than that. Meaning you can do the act of worship with a tayammum if you don't have wudu. And we mentioned that there are evidences in the Quran and the Sunnah and Ijma. So now we're going to talk about shurutu atayammumi wal asbabu al mubihatu lahu. The conditions of atayammum, of dry ablution, and the reason that will make it permissible for you to do atayammum. Yubahu atayammum inda al-ajli an istimal al-ma'. It is allowed for you to do atayammum when you don't have the ability to use water. You don't have the ability to use water. Imma li faqdihi. You don't have ability to use water. It can be if at all you cannot find water. You lose, you don't have no water at all. You are allowed to do a tayammum. Or you are scared where you're supposed to get water, it is very dangerous for you to go there. Then it is allowed for you to do a tayammum. أو لخوف الضرر من الاستعمال لمرض في الجسم أو شدة برد. Or you are worried to use water because you are sick. You have sickness in your body, or you have extreme cold. For example, you have serious fever and you are scared that if you use water, it may harm you. So what are the reasons for us to use tayammum? Number one is what? If there is no water available. Number two is what? If you're sick and you're worried that using water will increase the sickness. And number three, yes, if you have to put yourself in danger to get water. So for this reason, you are allowed to do a tayammum. لحديث عمران بن حسين عليك بالصعيد طيب فإنه يكفيك. And the hadith of Imran bin Hussein, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you can use pure earth and that will be sufficient for you. Use pure earth and that will be sufficient for you. There was an incident that occurred. Yes. We're going to get to that. The word is as-sa'id. We're going to get to that, inshallah. One of the Sahabas, something hit his head and he break his skull. So he asked the other Sahabis and he asked them, can I do a tayammum and pray? And they said, no. You have to wash janab. No, he break his skull and then he had janaba. And he came to the other Sahabas and he asked them, am I allowed to do dry ablution and pray? They said, no, you have to use water to wash janaba. He washed janaba and he died. And when the Prophet heard about this, he said, they have killed him and may Allah kill them. That's what he said. They have killed him and Allah will kill them. It doesn't mean that the Prophet cursed them, you know. He said, the cure of ignorance is to ask. A tayammum would have sufficed him. You understand? And there was another Sahaba, I forgot his name, he had wet dream. The place was very cold. The Prophet sent him, I think it's the Battle of Salasil. And I forget the name of the Sahaba. So, he had janaba and the place was extremely cold. And he did the dry ablution at tayammum, and he led the Sahabas in Salah. So they complained to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet asked him, Sallaita bin nas wa anta junub? You lead the people in prayer while you are in the state of janaba? And he said, yes. He said, because I thought of Allah's verse. What is the verse again? فَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. And do not kill yourself. Allah is ever merciful to you. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam smiled. So, yeah. So he used this ayah to do a tayammum, because if he would have taken ablution, or if he would have washed janaba, it would have increased or even affect him, or made him ill. So for that reason, he did a tayammum. And he says here, number one, وسيأتي مزيد البسط لذلك بعد قليل ويصح التيمم بالشروط الآتية. And tayammum will be correct with these following conditions. Number one is a niyyah. You should make intention when you are doing a tayammum, because the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّاتٍ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى إِلَى آخِرِ الْحَدِيثِ. And there is a big, one of the major, the greatest jurisprudence principle, قواعد الفقهية الكبرى, is الأمور بالمقاصدها. Every affair is according to its intention. But today I had one brother was leading, they came late, and he was leading Salatul Asr. They came late, and when he wanted to lead, it was like Salatul Asr. Before he started his Salah, as if he was making intention. Intention, you should not utter it. The place of intention is in your heart. You intend that you are doing a tayammum for you to be clean to do your ibadah. And secondly, the second condition is al-Islam. فَلَا يَصِحُ مِنَ الْكَافِرِ لِأَنَّهُ عِبَادَةٌ. A tayammum is not correct for the disbeliever, because this is something to do with worship. So therefore, it is not upon the disbeliever. Al-aqlu, and also فَلَا يَصِحُ مِنْ غَيِّ الْعَاقِلِ كَالْمَجْنُونِ وَالْمُغْمَى عَلَيْهِ. And the person should be sane, because a tayammum is not wajib upon somebody that is insane. Somebody that is insane, or somebody that al-mughma alayhi is somebody that become unconscious. Number 4 is at-tamyiz. At-tamyiz, what is at-tamyiz? At-tamyiz. What is sinnu tamyiz? Ma huwa at-tamyiz? Ma huwa tamyiz? Tamyiz. Ma huwa tamyiz? At-tamyiz, it means when you are able to distinguish between good and bad. Is that what you said? And sinnu tamyiz, it means the child is able to distinguish between good and bad, and he is able to clean himself. What is the age of a tamyiz, sinnu tamyiz? What age does he start? Yeah. 7 years until they reach puberty. This is the age of at-tamyiz. So at-tayammum is correct, or is a condition for somebody that has reached the age of at-tamyiz. But if you haven't reached the age of at-tamyiz, there is not a condition upon you. Number 5, ta'adhu isti'mal al-ma. When you don't have or you have the permission, the excuse not to use water. One excuse is what? When you are excused not to use water. If you are sick and you cannot find water, or the place that you can fetch water is very dangerous, then you're allowed to do a tayammum. How to do a tayammum? How to do a tayammum? A tayammum, even though they mention earth, but a sa'id is anything that is above the ground. So you can do it with a clay, you can do it with rock, but the scholars are saying that the thing should have dust. But you can do it with stone, you can do it with rock, you can do it with sand. You can use all these to do a tayammum. But how to do a tayammum? Can somebody come and demonstrate how to do a tayammum? Okay. As for the Maliki madhab and the Hanbali madhab, a tayammum can be darbatun wahida. You put your fingers like this, your arm like this, you touch the earth one time, and then you blow it. For the dust to go away, you wipe your face, and then you use your left hand, you wipe your right hand, and you use your right hand and wipe your left hand. Or you do 2 darbatan, one for your face and one for your hand. Maliki and the Hanbali, this is how they do a tayammum. As for the Shafi'i and the Hanafi, their evidence, according to the hadith that they use as evidence, that you can do a tayammum up to your elbow, is da'ifa. The hadith is da'if, is weak. So a tayammum, the correct way, darbatun, you wipe your face, you use your right hand, you wipe your you use your left hand, you wipe your right hand, and then you use your right hand, you wipe your left hand. This is the way to do a tayammum. As for the one up to the elbow, according to the scholars, the evidence of the Shafi'i, I'm a Shafi'i myself, it is da'if. That's why Imam Nawawi even considered this hadith to be a da'if. And Imam Nawawi was a Shafi'i. And a San'ani, the one that wrote the book Subul Salam, he also was a Shafi'i, and he said this evidence is weak. So this is the way to do a tayammum. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, inshallah.